All right, so here's a few news stories that caught my attention. You may already know this. Plastic recycling is a fraud. Most plastic is more expensive to recycle and into new plastic than it is to just throw it away and buy new plastic. So in practice, even though the recycling companies collect it, they just end up throwing it away at the other end. And they're trying to make this even worse. There was a letter that went out to a bunch of companies. And I'm trying to understand who sent a trade group sent a letter to people saying they want to call anything recyclable if 60% of people can hand it into the recycling centers in the area and they'll accept it, even though the fact is that it won't in fact be recycled. So it's that's why they want a case years ago that lets them put the little recycled symbol on plastic even though it's not recyclable on the free speech means. So it really is completely fraudulent plastic recycling. It's a bloody shame. So Russia is apparently hanging around with military units near the undersea cables, and I didn't know this. The undersea cables are used not only for data, but for power in Europe. So clearly, Russia could disrupt things a lot by sabotaging those cables, and they are considering it. And as far as I know, there's no reasonable defense. There's thousands of miles of cable. How could you possibly defend it all? So it's a thing to be aware of. Another attack we've talked a lot about is Volt Typhoon, which is the Chinese hacking into our water pumps and electrical plants over the internet using cyber attacks. But here's a simpler attack, and also very effective. Just cut those cables, or possibly tap into them to eavesdrop on the data, are all things that in principle could be done, and apparently there's evidence that the Russians are in the process of doing that. And they're very much aggressive, and they very much just want to disrupt democratic societies. They'll do it just for causing harm without even having any benefit come to them, because they see it as a zero-sum game in the competition of the fundamental political philosophies. So Kaspersky was banned in the United States, I think taking effect later this month. So Kaspersky has sold its U.S. antivirus branch to another place called Pango Group, so hopefully they can continue to sell it in America, and it will no longer be owned by a Russian company. So we'll see what comes of this. It's certainly good for Kaspersky customers who want to keep using Kaspersky. That means they'll keep getting updates anyway. So maybe it's going to be a good thing overall. A lot of people have gotten used to believing there's no malware on Macs, but there is malware for Macs. It's a lot less than Windows. However, it's not very sneaky. This stuff gets on when they trick you into downloading something by telling you it's a game or something, or the variety of other products. So it's just social engineering to get it on, but once it's on, it's a stealer. It steals all sorts of stuff from you. These stealers are a pretty common type of malware, and the Atomic Stealer is sold on Telegram channels for, I think, $1,000 a month now, and it steals cookies, passwords, and cryptocurrency wallets. So that's pretty bad if you have cryptocurrency. That's why if you do have cryptocurrency, by the way, you ought to have a hardware wallet, a separate removable device, so that it's not always on your machine. It's only available when you're actually making a transaction. Or you should keep it in a cloud service like Coinbase. And so this is interesting. There's a scandal in Malta where they are prosecuting some ethical hackers, and in response, the Prime Minister has promised that he's going to reform the laws to safeguard and regulate the practice of white hat hacking, which is just an interview. Now, saying you're going to do that is a long way from doing it. I know in the United States, there's been huge arguments about this. And in general, what I've heard from the leaders of the FBI crime force and stuff, FBI cybercrime group, is that this is a non-starter in America, because any weakening of the laws to allow some exception for research would let the bad guys get away with it. So there's no actually any appetite for this in America. And I wonder if these people in Malta will find out that it's tougher than they think it is. Maybe let me check the Twitch stream. Just hello. Hello, folks. All right. Anyway, so Russia and Iran have heavily filtered internet, and they had a meeting. Russia recently decided to ban VPNs, but there's a Washington group called Off the Record, Open Technology Fund, pardon me. Open Technology Fund is trying to get people to donate bandwidth to run VPN services to try to deliver unfiltered internet to these people. So this is sort of like the Voice of America that has broadcasts of information that governments try to block, I guess. So it might be nice. I wonder, though, because it's illegal to use, even if America provides it, so it might be all right. So this was something I just saw, a brief note on Mastodon saying this is here. You can opt out from all Amazon AI services. And I was thinking, why would you do that? Because I was thinking of like a bot that would help you. But I think what's going on here is you opt out of them using your data to train their services. You can opt out your organization out of having its content used for service improvements and all kinds of services. All kinds of things like all over Amazon seem to be doing this now. So I guess this is why you would do it. Apparently Amazon's been adding AI to everything, and they've been adding collecting your data to train our AI to everything. And you probably do want to opt out of that if you're a company, because one of the fundamental weaknesses of AI is they tend to memorize the data they train on and repeat it back later. So any data that you let an AI, a public AI, train on should be considered compromised. So every company should not let their data be used to train somebody else's AI. You should only use it to train your own private AI that you keep control over. All right, and so Trump's sentencing was delayed until after the election, and I've heard Keith Olbermann, who's sort of a wild man, his podcast saying the judge was afraid of Trump and all the death threats, and that's why he did it. And I couldn't find any support for that. In fact, what I found here is just the opposite. This Politico report, what they said is the justice, Juan Merchan, granted the delay request because the prosecution said they didn't mind delaying it. So this is typical from a judge. A judge doesn't usually impose something. They usually consider requests. If one side wants something, they either grant it or deny it. If the other side wants something, they grant it or deny it. In this case, both sides were asking for the same thing. Trump's team said we want to delay it, and the other team said, that's okay with us, we don't mind. In that case, normally a judge would just delay it. So it's not necessary to regard him as somehow terrified of Trump or controlled by Trump or anything. Anyway, it's an interesting article. I, of course, don't know exactly where the truth lies, but that sounds logical to me. So WhatsApp apparently had a view once privacy feature, and I know Snapchat has had this, where you can send people an image, they can look at it once, and supposedly they can't look at it anymore. Now, of course, this has always been a pretty thin barrier. I mean, they could just snap a photograph of the screen, and then they've got it. They could just do a screen image of the screen, and then they've got it. Now, apparently, on a phone, they were able to disable the screen capture, but it can also be viewed in the desktop WhatsApp client. I don't use WhatsApp, but I guess there is one, and they say there's no way to disable the desktop screenshot client. So, it's kind of obvious, but in case anybody trusts these single-shot privacy controls, they can never work very well. I mean, obviously, if somebody can see it, they can store it in various ways and contain the image, and there's no way you can prevent that. So be aware of that. All view once does is mean it's a little bit more difficult than usual to save a copy of this. So that would probably lower the number of copies made, but if it's something exciting, you can't count on it not having a copy made. Yeah, correct for the desktop WhatsApp. Good, thank you. All right, good. Anyway, this, I remember hearing a lot about this at the time. In the last election in 2020, a whole bunch of Trump supporters surrounded the Biden-Harris bus and harassed them and tried to run them off the road. And it was pretty scary, and it was pretty criminal and pretty violent. They didn't actually wreck the bus or kill anybody, but it was the sort of thing that ought to be punished. And I don't know why it's taken 4 years, but now they are finally suing these people. It was an outrageous event at the time, the sort of thing people should be prosecuted for, and it is amazing how slow the justice system is to get around to these things. This is City College blocking. Yeah, this is block all crypto news at the college, but I remember what this one is about. It was pretty surprising. There's a crypto company, and they found the criminals found the CEO and went and physically robbed him with a gun. They pointed a gun at him and forced him to transmit all the funds out of all the wallets into some other wallet so they could take them, which is not that common in the world of cryptocurrency, where almost everything is done over the internet. So, and he's resigning from the CEO position as a result and forfeiting all his funds, and they're trying to get some money to restore the lost money to people and such. But that's a combination of good old physical crime with cyber crime. Anyway, all right, can I put the link in chat? Well, I don't know which link you're talking about. Perhaps the WhatsApp thing. Probably this one. This is the one I think I was talking about. Let's see if this... Oh, the crypto one. Oh, the crypto one. Okay, good. All right. Yep. Yeah, you probably can open it at home, even though I can't open it here. All right. All right. And fair enough. So let me stop this recording and get on to the official stuff.